What's up, everyone? Welcome to day 3 of the Dream Star Grand Prix review series here for the 2024 inaugural event for Marigold. I am your host, as always, Scott Edwards. This episode's coming about a little bit later than I would have liked to, but it's okay. We are going to have the Monday show, the big cork, out ready and raring to go early that morning, so it should be a lot of fun. But we do have a Shinkiba first ring show to talk about here today. 5 tournament matches as we continue to roll on through the tournament. The first 2 days of action, I thought we had some really good back and forth. I think we've had 3 real highlight matches that I tend to talk about, which of course were Nanae Takahashi versus Misa Matsui from day 2, Sareee versus Mai Sakurai from day 2, and then of course NØRI and Amarei from day 1. So we continue on here. I think obviously we look at the 2 big Cork and Hall shows coming up these next 2 weeks, and those are the ones that I know I have circled. And then of course we're going into the final night. However, this Shinkiba first ring, I think, was a smaller show to allow some of the undercard talents to shine against some big names. So it was a fun show, and I'm looking forward to talking about here today. But before we get there, I do ask that you press that like button, leave a comment on your thoughts on the show. I've been meaning to get back to the comments. You're responding to people. I do read them, so I appreciate everything you continue to send. Just been a busy week, but I will be getting back to that. So I appreciate all of you that continue to do so. That does a lot of good for the algorithm. It helps the show. It helps us get noticed more and more. Me, and helps these shows get out there. Honestly, this is just for fun for me. I really love watching these tournament matches and kind of breaking them down in these separate videos. So thank you to everyone that continues to support. And of course, press subscribe if you haven't already, and share the channel. Share it if you think I do some good Joshi coverage. Then share it up. Once the Dream Star is over, I do plan to have more content on this channel moving forward, kind of breaking down past matches and things like that. Should be a lot of fun, but for now, we are, of course, doing the Dream Star Grand Prix. So without further ado, let's get to this show. Day 3 of action, like I said, in Shinkiba first ring. I think overall it was a pretty entertaining and strong show once again. I don't think anything was necessarily home run worthy, but I think everything was well worth checking out, because whether it's a story being told or the continued growth of a wrestler, I do think it was beneficial show all around for the tournament as we move forward, especially heading into such a stacked day 4. So of course our first match was Sareee going one-on-one with CHIAKI in Star League action. The beauty of, I think, Sareee in this tournament, besides the obvious amazing matches and her being the best in the world, is seeing her get to go one-on-one with wrestlers like CHIAKI, right? Someone like CHIAKI is going to greatly benefit from these matches. She's going to learn along the way, and in the long term, that's going to set her up for great success, I think. And this match, while not long, accomplished those goals that I think you want to see accomplished, especially for a young wrestler like CHIAKI, who's obviously still learning the ropes, but I think overall has a great understanding of her character and how to have presence. And I think that's why I see her going so far in this company. This match only lasted 6 minutes and 57 seconds, but it packed the punch that you want it to pack when it's a Sareee match. They did trade forearms at one point. CHIAKI brought it. She really did bring it to Sareee. She even attacked her, and ultimately you could see Sareee kind of enjoy it. I think Sareee likes when a wrestler like this steps up and steps into this match and really tries to bring it to someone like her. And ultimately, in the end, Sareee hit a brutal drop kick, bottom rope drop kick, as we are accustomed to CHIAKI, and won the match with the double foot stomp, Karo Ito style, to get the win from the top. So ultimately, CHIAKI does fall here. Still no wins for CHIAKI, but Sareee moves to a 2-0, 4 points. continues the undefeated streak here in Marigold. So a strong start to this show. And then we had Kouki Amarei versus Victoria Yuzuki. If I had to pick a weakest match in terms of tournament action from this show, I think I would give this just the slight edge. Nothing against it. I just don't think it had the fire or excitement necessarily that I was hoping for because, as we know, Victoria Yuzuki has established a feud with both Twin Tower members Chikagoto and Kokimare, but I think a lot of that feud is more with Yuzuki and Goto rather than Kokimare. So this was kind of just a straight up match, but ultimately you also view this as this is going to be a future United National or Marigold World title match somewhere in the future, right? This is two of the building blocks of Marigold. So you do I think lock in on that. But ultimately this match was just fine. It didn't blow me away by any means, but it also wasn't bad. I think Koki Mare um, has had a solid tournament. Not again, nothing stand out, but it's the type of term you watch her build on, and the same could go for Yuzuki. You know, Yuzuki for me, I have such high expectations for her. And the Utami match that I think really allowed her to set herself apart. That was so good that I think it almost hurt her going into this match because I was like, okay, should keep a first ring, a real opportunity for these two. But ultimately, it was a fine match. Koki Amari had hit the backdrop driver that she had learned, that she had shown um, in the last match to beat Natsumi Shizuki, and that was kicked out of, but she did follow up with the butterfly dive to get the win and continue on. Koki is going to go into that final day in some sort of contention. She is facing Utami Hayashishita that day. I don't know if it'll be legitimate contention, but it is going to be contention nonetheless. So getting the win here is not too much of a shock at all. We move forward now. Nagisa Nozaki versus NØRI. You know how much I've been praising and really loving the work of NØRI, and I thought this was just a continuation of how great she truly is. The beauty of NØRI's matches is that she's still so new and fresh, but she has the strikes and offense and excitement to create and make a match exciting at any moment's notice, right? She is throwing kicks at will. Like every move she's hitting feels like it is a nasty strike, mostly a kick. And Nozaki is like the ideal opponent to match that. These two went to a 15-minute time limit draw, but there were points in this match where NØRI is just hitting these jumping spin kicks and these kicks to the heads. And I'm just like, man, this is great. This is what I want to see from two wrestlers in this tournament that you don't usually see go head to head. And I think you walk away from this and you're just so happy with what NØRI's putting together. She is undefeated in this tournament. She has not lost. Now she has 2 draws and 2 wins, but it's establishing her as a serious threat, I think, in Marigold moving forward. And Nozaki, she's turned it on in the tournament as I expected her to do so. I know her overall work is, can be on and off sometimes when it's a undercard tag or whatever, but in these tournament matches, she's turned it up. So I thought this was a really good match, and it ultimately took my match of the night. Um, NØRI's just such a beast. She's my favorite wrestler that I've only watched for a couple months in terms of like that. Like she is so good. If I was to put it together, just the top 5 list of wrestlers I love watching right now, I think she's on it because, like, everything she does, super exciting, and I'm a super big fan of hers. So this was really good, and I think well worth your watch. And they continue to tell the story. Well, NØRI is a force to be reckoned with. She can't completely finish the job. It'll be interesting to see what her first loss ends up being. I'm gonna guess Utami Hayashishita. I'd like to see her beat Natsumi Shizuki on Monday, but we'll have to wait and see. And we have the semi-main event. It was Nanae Takahashi versus Kizuna Tanaka. This match is, Kizuna's um, passion injection match, and I thought overall this was really, really solid. I love what Kizuna Tanaka brings to the table. She is someone that obviously is not anywhere close to a finished product. She's still so young and new to wrestling, but you see the makings of a super baby face, you know, and I think her overall outing here against someone like Nanae was really impressive. You know, she got a big kick out in this match when when Nanae wiped her out with a lariat. And I thought that was a great kick out. But you know, the beauty of Kizuna is she has a great fighting spirit to her. And I know people use fighting spirit and it can get thrown around sometimes. But I do think like that's what embodies her and the Victoria Yuzukis, and it's why you know, you look at those 2, and it's such a bright future for Marigold just with those 2 alone. That's not talking about, you know, the debutees that haven't shown up, like the Omakais and the Sarees and the Tachibanas, right? We haven't even seen what the other trainees have to offer. But with Yuzuki and Kizuna leading the way, it's so exciting. This was a great showing by Kizuna Tanaka. I think, you know, I think she is going to go so far in her career, and this is just the beginning. Obviously, she's not a tall wrestler in any sense, but like I said, that fighting spirit, that babyface passion show to Nanae, it's gonna bring her a long way. And I think Nanae really appreciated that. You know, I think sometimes when you watch Nanae matches and she's wrestling younger wrestlers, you can see who she really likes to work with and who has made their mark against her. Because I think this was one of those times where I saw that. But Nanae gets the win. She continues to roll on, stay comfortably in the Star League, and we'll have to see how it goes on Monday when she faces Bozilla. And we had our main event, Mai Sakurai versus Bozilla. You're all probably, you know, looking at the thumbnails. It's like, why is Mai Sakurai always the main? Well, she's always the main event. She's wrestled 3 times and she has main evented a show 3 times. So that's why she continues to be a main event force in the Dreamstar Grand Prix, and this was another opportunity. This time going one on one with the undefeated 6.3-0 Bozilla. Mai Sakurai has become very scrappy, and I think her style being scrappy is what is setting her apart from everyone else, right? She's, and I've talked about this before, but she's on such a great run, and she's someone who isn't the most athletic, right? She isn't the fastest or the hardest hitting, but she wrestles with a lot of heart and smarts, but also is just willing to do anything to win. And we really saw that in this match. 11 minutes and 38 seconds. Mai Sakurai was able to overcome Bozilla by outsmarting the monster Bozilla, ultimately putting Bozilla into the Paradise Lock on the ramp and getting her counted out. She had used water to blind her. She used a bucket to smash her in the head. You know, she had taken some abuse in this match, including taking the Razor's Edge running 3 style power bomb like move. That was a rough spot, but I liked that in Bozilla's arsenal. I thought that was a great addition. But you know, this is someone in Bozilla who has walked through uh, every single wrestler in her tournament so far, right? She beat Miku Aono in her last match with her own finish. You know, she beat Misa Matsui. She beat Kizuna Tanaka. She obviously had an easy opening start, and all the big names are coming up. But listen, Mai Sakurai has now beaten Bozilla and has been beaten Nanae Takahashi. This is a tournament to set her apart, to establish her as a top star. And I think they're doing a great job at doing that. This was a good main event with a very creative finish that I enjoyed. So a strong match, and a fun show overall. I don't think it, you know, I think it's more in line with the opening day shows rather than the show from Toyama that we talked about earlier this week on day 2 of action. But even so, I still think it was good and well worth your time as we head into the big Korakuen that features Utami Hayashishita versus Mirai. Sareee versus Mikuano, Bozilla versus Nanae Takahashi, NØRI versus Natsumi Shizuki, Chikagoto versus Victoria Yuzuki. Like, it is a packed show. One of the best Korakuen cards in all of wrestling this year. I can't wait to break that down. So make sure on Monday you are here to listen to day 4 of action. It's going to be our biggest and best breakdown so far. I'm really looking forward to it. But let's get to those match ratings as we often do to close out the show here. I won't go into too many stats just yet. We'll have the stats updated sooner rather than later. But right now, we do want to take a look at the ratings so far. As you can see here, the MVP leader. It's still really early. Most wrestlers have 2 or 3 matches so far. But Amarei technically leads the field with a 3 3/4 as the leader. We have a lot of 3.5s. Mai Sakurai is at 3.58, and I is at 3.67. So strong all around the marks. I think this has been a really strong tournament, like I said, and I'm hoping we have some more standout matches as we move forward. And I'm pretty confident that we do. But it's been a good tournament, a lot of growing. That's what you're expecting in this tournament. There's a lot of growth along the way. So this was a good start, and we'll just quickly look at the brackets here and the point totals because obviously it's almost time. Not yet, but it's almost time to start paying attention, I think, to um the standings because we are getting deep into this tournament. So both Bozilla and NØRI sit at the top with 6 points apiece of their blocks, with NØRI leading the Dream Star, Dream League block, while Bozilla leads the Star League block with 3 wins and 1 loss. NØRI, of course, sitting there with 2-0-2. Mikuano and Mai Sakurai and Sareee and Nanae Takahashi all have 4 in the Star League block, while Takahashi sits at 4. Amarei, Natsumi Shizuki, and Nagisa Nozaki all sit at 3. Victoria Yuzuki at 1, while Kizuna, Tanaka, Misa Matsui, Chikagoto, and CHIAKI all have struggled and have yet to get a win. But I think it is just well worth noting here. This is a very specific records thing. I have a full record sheet from Marigold Records, but this is just a quick look at the tournament so far, who's doing the best, who's doing the worst, win percentage, and so on. So thank you everyone for listening to day 3 of the Dreamstar Grand Prix review series. I'll be back on Monday. Should potentially have some guests to talk the stacked Cork and Hall show. Like I said, Tommy Amarei, Auno, Sareee. Doesn't really need much more than that, but there's a lot more to talk about. So I'm really looking forward to it. Until next time, thank you everybody for listening. And if you're listening to this, keep an eye out on Monday on the Fightful's YouTube channel. I'll be having an interview with Stardom's Xena coming out that day as well. So definitely something to look forward to there. But like I said, until next time, thank you everybody, and I'll see you then.